Weekly text-based Tanya. This is chapter 52. Okay, out of how many chapters? 53. Oh my goodness, we're getting so close to the end. Okay, I am sick. I have a cold. My throat is sore. Please apologize if I don't sound normal or even perhaps to some degree act normal.
We're not normal. We learned that in
Right, we're not normal. We did learn that in Tanya. Okay.
We don't do normal.
Chapter 51, we said we're going to wrap things up here, and we're going to return to a concept that was brought up way back in chapter 35. There was a metaphor, a three-part metaphor in chapter 35 that originally comes from the Holy Zohar. What was that metaphor? Oil, wick, flame, excellent. Imagine a little lamp, an old-fashioned lamp burning, oil, wick, and flame. So, when we do mitzvahs, the flame that we generate, meaning the Shekhinah, the presence of Hashem, that we are drawing down into this world, the godly light that we are causing to settle into this world, that's like the flame. The body is the wick, and the oil, the fuel that keeps the wick burning, are the mitzvahs. That was in chapter 35. And if you'll remember back in chapter 35, 36, 37, we focused on the importance of action, 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 action. And then just in case you might think that action was the only thing that mattered, so then in 38, 39, and 40, we focused on kavana, on the feelings you put into the actions. And then 41 through 50, we went through all these meditations to create more and more emotions to get us to do the mitzvahs with love and awe. So we definitely don't discount the importance of emotion, but if you remember back to 35, 36, 37, action is ultimately the bottom line. Make sense? Okay. So, that's where we're headed. We're headed toward understanding action. But what happens is in 51, we bring up this question. And I said, remember last week I warned you, I said, do not tell me, this is really technical and abstract. I don't see how this applies to my life. Don't say that, because I already know that you're going to think that. I'm telling you that these chapters are very technical and abstract and Kabbalistic. Last week we said, hey, what does it mean that the Shekhinah, that Hashem's presence dwelled in the Holy of Holies, in the temple? Isn't Hashem everywhere? So then we answered and we said, well, you know what it means? It's like sort of the soul is in the body, and the soul makes the body alive, and the whole body is alive, the whole body is equally alive. We wouldn't say the one part of the body is more alive and less alive, yet we know the way that life enters the body is directed through the brain. The brain is what disperses the life force to all of the organs and limbs, and is aware of everything going on in all the organs and limbs. And that's sort of what we mean when we say that Hashem dwelled in a special way in the Holy of Holies. We don't mean to say that he wasn't everywhere. What we mean is that the Holy of Holies in the temple served as a sort of brain, in the sense that the brain is where the life force is directed from and emanates outward from to the rest of the body. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so let's try to finish chapter 52 all in one shot today. And as I said, I'm sick, so take it easy on me. I told them I'm sick.
I can hear.
You can hear it, yeah.
And I'm really sorry.
It's okay. So if you would like to help me with my refuah, then just take it really easy on me this week.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah, don't ask questions. Just accept.
Okay, good.
Question nothing.
Don't comment.
Don't comment. Don't think. Just,
Okay,
all
It's
right.
like Robin put in the corner.
It's okay. No, we're not.
Hold
We
on.
just
And I have my
had
tea.
compassion.
I have my
Okay.
tea. Hold
We must have compassion.
on. Okay. All right. I'll check in with you to make sure you're understanding, okay? I always do that, buddy. Did you ever notice that? I always check in and make sure you're
And
understanding.
we should say yes.
Yeah, and you should just say yes, even if you don't. That's correct. That's right. Just, yeah, we got it, we got it.
Not
We
easy.
did that for so many years, which is why we're here.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Okay, we're not going to repeat that trauma. Okay, fine. Okay. Everyone understands, right? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Now, if you don't understand, you're allowed to say you don't understand, but just then Yeah, let me explain it. Okay. Perek Nun Beis, chapter 52. Kemei shebenishmas ha'adam ikar gili klolos achayus hu b'meichin. Just like in a person, the main place of his life force, the revelation of his life force, is in his brain. Hu b'meichin, yeah. V'kol evarim mikablim oyer v'keich levad hamer lehem mimakar gili achayus b'meichin. And then all the other limbs and organs receive from the brain. Kachamamish, so too, by way of analogy, al derech mashal, by way of analogy, iker gili klolos hamshachas achayus, lachis ha'olam is v'abrim shebehem. The main way that the life force enters the worlds to enliven them, hu melubash v'nichel beretzein v'chachmas v'binas v'daite yisbarach hanikroyim b'shem meichen, is through the faculties of rotzein, chachma, bina, and das, which are called Meichen, called brains. And those are in turn invested in the Torah and the mitzvahs. Remember back in chapter 3 when we spoke about the 10 spheros? We only spoke about the 10 spheres because we were speaking about the 10 soul powers. And we were saying that the 10 soul powers are a reflection of the 10 spheros. So we're talking about the 10 spheros now. He actually adds one. Rotzain, which is Keser. He says, Rotzain Chachma Bina Das. Normally when we speak about the intellectual spheres, we speak about the 3 intellectual, the 3 Meichen or Seichel, and then the 7 emotional. Here he mentions 4 because Rotzain, he includes with them. Different models of the spheroids will interchangeably use Rotzin Chachma Bina, well, they call it Keser Chachma Bina, and some will use Chachma Bina Das. This is Keser is a crown, literally, and it means the will. Like the will encompasses or goes, like the crown goes on top of the head. The will sort of moves all of the seichel. It directs the will directs the thought process. What?
Is that Hashem?
Yeah, we're talking about Hashem's spheros. So all of the worlds, as you know, are built up with these building blocks of the 10 spheros. So basically we're talking about how the 10 spheros operate. That in every world, the dimensionality of every plane of reality is the 10 spheros. And the 3 intellectual faculties, plus Rotzain, which is sort of an honorary intellectual faculty, are the brain of each world. You understand? We're saying, like, every universe has a brain. Just like every body has a brain, every universe has a brain. And it's the Chachma Bina Das of that world, which is basically the Torah as Torah exists in that world.
Like the code?
The code, yeah. Yeah, great. Well, Torah's Torah. Well, yeah. Well, down here, you tell a story about an ox gored a cow, and inside of that little story of an ox goring a cow, you have secrets of Torah. In higher worlds, they just learn the secret. I mean, Torah is Torah, yeah, but the level, yeah. It's not like different rules or different outcomes, but it's like the level at which it's perceived. One of the things that happens after embodiment is that the soul goes up and relearns the Torah it learned down here and says, wow, that was a lot deeper than I realized. That's amazing. And that's part of the delight of Gan Eden. Okay. V'gilui klolos hamshacha zu hu makar hachayas asher ha'olam is mikabel kol echad bepratus. That brain is the source of life force for all of the beings in that world. Rak ha'or mispashatus mira mimakar zeh. Kedim in oyer hamispashat mahashemesh al derech mashal v'keiches evrei aguf mahamayach and yizkel el. The life force comes off of that brain, so to speak, like another analogy, like the sunshine shining from the sun, or like the aforementioned analogy of the life force that emanates from the brain to the limbs. So the Torah of each world is sort of the source of the life of each world. Umakar zehu anikra alma desgalia. Umatranisa. Ve'ima tata. Ushchina. Malshin v'shchanti b'seichem. Now, this source from where the spreading forth of the life force occurs is called Alma Discalia, which is two Aramaic words, the world of revelation, or Matranisa. Matranisa means the aristocratic lady. A lot of times in Gemara you have stories of like some Roman matron will have an argument with one of the rabbis. So Matranisa means like the aristocratic lady. Imatata, the lower mother. Who's the higher mother? Bina. Bina's the higher mother. Who's the lower mother? Malchus. Malchus is the lower mother. They're both feminine. Ushchina, or also it's called Shchina, and it's from the word V'shechanti b'seicham, I will dwell within them. Al Shem Shemakir Zehu Reishis Yiskalos Harein Sof, because this level is the first part, or this is the first place of revelation of the infinite in each world. Asher Mamshech Omer La'elam is Bebechinas Giloi, where things become revealed. Umamakir Zeh Nimshach L'chol Echad Ve'echad L'chol Echad Ve'echad Umi Makar Zeh, from this source, Nimshach L'chol Echad is drawn down to each individual creation, Ha'or V'chayis Prati Aroilai, the amount of life force that it needs, V'shechin Mislabish B'sechem L'achri, and then that life force dwells within that being to enliven it. Okay.
I have no idea what's going on.
I know.
But we can ask
Saying
questions.
that. But we're supposed to be nice, so.
Just trust me. I know that this is a point. You didn't have to tell me you have no idea what's going on. I knew you had no what's going on. I knew 30 seconds ago you had no idea what's going on. I wanted to finish the sentence. I had to hold myself back internally. I said, I should explain to them right now what's going on. I said, no, because then I'll have to back up to the beginning of the sentence. So the most efficient way is just finish the sentence and then be like, okay, I know that probably people don't know what's going on. Okay. This is not hard at all. It's not hard. We just described a function. That function is revelation. Revelation. Taking life force and revealing it. We said that it has a bunch of names. We rattled them off. We said it's called Alma Deskaya, which means the revealed world. It's called Matranisa, the aristocratic lady. It means Ima Tata, the lower mother. And it's called Shchina, the indwelling presence. And I'll give you another word for it. In Spheros, it's called Malchus.
The lower mother.
Yeah. So we were talking about Moichin, now we're talking about the lowest Sphera. Like what happened here? Moichin is the highest. We said Chochma Bina Das. Okay, so understand something. That the Spheros are patterns that repeat themselves in every Olam. The structure of the 10 Spheros repeats itself in every world. So the lowest Sphera of the previous world becomes the highest of the next world. You following?
So like the Malchus is on top of the Keter of this world. The Malchus of the upper world is on top of the Keter of this world.
Correct. Like Malchus of the higher world becomes Kesser of the lower world. Yeah.
We discussed this once.
What?
We discussed this concept once.
Yes, it's come up before. Yeah, it's not an uncommon concept yet. So, what we're saying is this indwelling presence, which we call Shechina, or you call it the lower mother, and it's because it's nurturing, It's feminine, it's nurturing, it takes care of that which is beneath it, like a mother taking care of children. That's the term that we use to describe when a higher degree of spiritual energy concerns itself with a lower realm. So we're just describing the structure of the universes, of the planes of reality. That in each one of them, there's this sort of jumping off point from whence all of the life force emanates. Okay? All right. That's why this level is also called Eim Habanim, which is a phrase from Tehillim. We say it in Hallel.
Which level?
This level of the place where the life force emanates out from.
The source.
The source. It's called Eim Habanim, the mother of children. Uknesses Yisrael, it's also called the aggregate of the Jewish people. It's like the source of all the souls. Because that's the source from whence the different levels of souls come out, whether it's in Atzilus or Bria. It's the same pattern, it just repeats itself on different levels. It's all just emanations from this level we call Shechina. It's likened to sunlight that comes from the sun. But the Shechina itself, which is the beginning of revelation, the way that the infinite becomes revealed, it's the source of how this revelation takes place in each world. Brackets, and like we're saying, in each world, it's relatively only a certain limited amount of light that becomes emanated. It's not possible for each of the worlds to receive the light of its Shechina. That light should really be able to settle in that world. Unless there's a levush, a garment, which hides some of that light from them. So they don't become nullified out of their existence when they are revealed, when their source is revealed to them. Like light from the sun is non-existent in the sun. There's no sunlight in the sun. In the sun, there's just sun, no sunlight. So there has to be some type of levush. Don't confuse the word levush here with levushim that we were introduced to in chapter 4. Remember in chapter 4 we used the term levushim to mean a person's levushim. Machshava dibur ma'isa, thought, speech, and action. Yeah, it's not the same thing. Levush here means some type of a screen or filter that allows the life force from the Shechina to enter a world without undoing that world. When you're revealing too much of the Creator to the creation, you could undo the creation. Okay.
Is this only on the lowest world?
What?
Is this only on the lowest world?
Every world. This phenomenon is recurring on every single level. Atzilus and Bria and Yetzirah.
What's this phenomenon?
Getting enough life force to the world that the world should exist and be alive without nullifying it out of existence. So we need a levush. We need a garment. We need a garment. So what's the obvious next question?
What are the garments?
Great. You are 100% right. That's the obvious next question. So let me continue the next words here. Umahu halavush, and what is the garment? Sheyuchol lastira lalbisha, that can hide and clothe the infinite light. And it itself won't get nullified. It's a good question, because what are we going to find? What material can hold this Or Ein Sof, and it itself won't get nullified? Yeah. Who it is Hashem's Ratzain, His will, and His Chachma, His wisdom, v'chulu, etc. Etc. means and the Bina and the Das, which are invested in the Torah and the mitzvahs. Haniglis lanu l'vanenu, which are revealed to us and our children. What does that mean? Hashem's Ratzin and Chachma and etc. that are revealed to us and our children. What does that mean?
The emotions,
That's what you were saying to me 10 minutes ago.
the spirits itself.
What does it mean? That are revealed to us and our children.
Our mitzvahs, what we do.
What were we talking about 10 minutes ago?
The mouth, the beginning and the end.
Question that you asked. Isn't there one Torah in all the worlds? That was your question, right? Okay, so what does it mean when he refers to Hashem's Ratzin and Chachma that are revealed to us and our children?
It's halacha. You don't say
Halacha, yeah, you could use the word halacha, meaning the level or the form of Torah that's relatable to our embodied experience. Even though we know that that's just the level where we relate to it, we know inside of it there's much deeper truth. But the point is, what did he just say here? He said that we need a way for the life force that's emanating from the malchus of the higher world to safely enter the next world without nullifying that world, so it enters the chachma of the next world, which is the Torah of that world. That like we say, Torah comes from Hashem's chachma. He chachma ilah, the higher chachma, which is higher than the world of revelation. For he is wise, but not in the knowable sense of wisdom. Let me finish the sentence. Hashem ultimately invests himself in his chachma, and he and his chachma are one. So what we've just described is that in every world, I like the word code that you used. In every world there is a code. Code not meaning like a secret code, like get your decoder ring, but code meaning a rule, a set of rules, a set of fundamental rules. Every world has the code. By rules, I don't mean arbitrary rules, like a bunch of guys get together and they vote to put in a stop sign on their block. By rules, I mean like natural law, like the rules of like how gravity works, things that are, or when you examine the structure of human DNA, you see there's a certain pattern, there's a certain underlying rule how it works.
Universal truth.
We're talking about inherent structures. So what we're saying here is that there is an inherent structure that governs the nature of reality on each plane of reality. That's why it's very important to understand Torah is not laws that respond to reality. Torah is laws that create reality. So in each world, the way that the life force that enlivens each world enters each world and is able to be passed on to that world is through Torah as it exists in that world. Hashem's wisdom as it is accessible on that level. And each level accesses Hashem's wisdom in different ways. For us, the most relatable level is halacha, although within that is contained even the highest levels. So ultimately it comes from Chachmi law, the highest Chachma. But it goes down, level after level. Until finally it becomes invested in the 613 mitzvahs as we know them. 613 actionable items that exist in the physical world, not concepts, not abstractions. And as the Torah comes down world after world, the Shekhinah also follows it and is invested in it in each world. And that is the Holy of Holies in every world. You think Holy of Holies is just a physical spot on earth? It is, yeah, but it's not just a physical spot on earth. Holy of Holies was, yes, where the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would enter only one day a year on Yom Kippur. It is the epicenter of the physical world. It is the location of the Evin HaShiyah, the foundation stone, from which the entire world was created, the physical world was created. So yes, the Holy of Holies is a spot, is a location. But Holy of Holies is actually a concept, and that concept reiterates on every single plane of creation. And the Holy of Holies is basically the place, and I don't mean a physical location because we're talking about spiritual worlds, is the place where the life force for that world enters that world and can be garbed in a way that will protect that world from being nullified by the life force which enlivens it. And that is the Torah as it exists, meaning the divine code or the rules for reality as it exists on that plane of reality. Yeah.
So is the Torah the Holy of Holies?
So the Torah is the Holy of Holies. Yes. Yes. It is the place which is the access point to get the godly energy in a way that we can handle.
So what is Knesset Yisrael and Ein Habanim?
Okay, so there's two different things going on here. There's not 10, I know we use 10 different terms, but we're talking about two things. One is, call it intellect, which the words that we used for that was Chochmah Bina Das. We also threw in Ratzain as a fourth part of that cohort. We call that the Torah. We call it Moichin, the brains. So that's one concept. And then we have another concept, which is Shechina, or Matranisa, or Imatata, or Malchus, or Alma Desgalia, all names for one concept. So we have two concepts, not 10 concepts. We have like a bunch of terms. We have like 10 terms we've been using, but we're just talking about two concepts. We're talking about the intellect and the mother. So we're explaining the relationship between those two entities. Basically, Chochmah and Malchus. How Chochmah invests itself, or rather how Malchus invests itself within Chochmah in order to enter the subsequent world. How the nurturing energy that the universe requires, just like the life force of a person comes through the brain, that nurturing energy which each universe requires comes in through the code of Torah as it exists in that world.
So the Malchus, the emanation, and Chachma is the Torah filter.
Yes, yeah.
And how does that relate to nature?
I don't know, you'd have to make your question more specific.
Well, when you mentioned that it's Torah defines how nature is perceived by us, it just felt refining.
What I mean is the way that world operates, the rules of that world. The axioms of the world that you take for granted, like that you can't walk through walls and stuff like that. All that is dictated by the code. Yeah.
When you say Torah in that world, so you're talking about this, let's say, the amount or whatever word we could use to measure the worlds and the type of revelation of Torah in that world. So how does that connect to, like, what was Har Sinai? What kind of revelation was that? Was it the level they were at that moment? Was it all of it from every world? Like, what did we experience?
What are you trying to understand?
Was all of Torah ever revealed to us?
All of Torah,
On a level?
well, here's the thing. Torah is still being unpacked because it's infinite. The code was revealed to us.
All of the code was revealed?
All of the code was revealed to us, but we're still unpacking it because it's infinite. When Mashiach comes, we're going to have a whole new burst of decoding or uncoding the Torah. It won't be a new Torah because the Torah was only given once, but there's infinite amounts of information that can be pulled out of it. Yeah.
How much was blocks at Har Sinai?
What?
How much of it was?
All, the whole thing.
All block.
The whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned before that the four worlds are not physical spaces.
Right.
So, which means that a person could be living physically in this space, but spiritually in other worlds.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you could access the understanding of the Torah of those worlds in this physical space?
Yeah, of course. And we are doing it. It's
So meaning,
just
like, you don't have to be in the next world to understand the next.
you are in the next. We're simultaneously in all the worlds right now.
So
But
in this lifetime, you can
But you're only going to be
understand all.
conscious of the lowest world because the definition of a world, olam, malash, and helam, world's obscure. So you're only going to be conscious of the lowest world in which you're in, even though the higher worlds are contained within the lower worlds.
Right, but like you were saying, does it mean that we could experience all of the revelation?
Yes, just not on a conscious level. We're accessing all the benefits of it. We just can't consciously perceive it. Yeah.
I think if you give an example of, let's say, like, on this world, we make a bracha on a drink,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We have that bracha, we know that we're saying thank you.
Yeah.
That's this level. And then
Yeah.
we don't know, like, we're maybe not conscious of the other levels in the upper world of what's coming from uttering those words.
But we do though, because there's Pneumius Torah, so we do know.
Oh, so, yeah. Okay, so you're bringing up something very interesting.
That we're learning that.
Because of pneumonia, see, you guys are a little bit disabled by your advantages. Poor little rich kid. You don't realize, a little bit entitlement. You don't realize that there's a lot of the hidden Torah stuff that is Torah from other worlds that you guys already know. All this talk about spheroids and stuff. Basically, if it's any more spiritual than practical halacha, you are glimpsing Torah from other worlds. Okay? All right, let's continue here.
I'm sorry, I just.
What?
I'm not ready to continue, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Malchus invests itself into Chachma,
Yeah.
right? We have two concepts, intellect and mother.
Yeah.
We're studying the relationship between the two. So
Yeah.
Malchus invests itself
Right.
into Chachma.
So let me ask you a question. What does Malchus need to accomplish?
Invest.
What's her job?
To invest.
Why is she investing? In order to accomplish.
That we could receive it.
Right, so there can be a world, right, and the world can exist and be taken care of, great.
Wait, what's Malchus? Is that Hashem? Is
It's
that
all Hashem.
Shekhinah?
It's an aspect of divinity. It's a
An
sphere.
aspect of divinity that we want to tap into.
I don't think we're even talking about what we want here. It's just the reality of how worlds get built.
Okay, the Malchus comes through Chachma,
Has to come through Chachma.
because this way it doesn't nullify.
Right, so it won't nullify the world.
Chachma, is that Torah?
Chachma is, yeah, well, you're saying is a question. You know full well what it is. You're,
Just trying to understand.
you know what it is.
So that's what we have clear.
So, in other words, the rules in each world, or the way, they're the same rules in all the worlds, but the way those rules are understood in each world. Like what happens when a ox gores a cow, okay? those rules in each world are the means through which the life for that world enters that world.
So the more Torah we have and experience, the more life, the more malchus.
Sure, okay.
Could Malchus be a key?
Where does Bina come in? Is that Chachma with Bina?
Bina is included with the Chachma, yeah. Chachma, Bina, Das, they're all together. Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Could Malchus be a key?
Is it a kli? Yeah, it is a kli. Yeah, it is it's a vessel.
It receives the Chachma.
It receives the Chachma and then it passes it on. And, yeah, okay. Ukamesha Kosov.
And this is all through the brain. That's chapter 51, no?
Well, this is the brain metaphor. Yeah, we're calling this the brain. The Torah of each world is the brain of that world. And like we explained, what is a brain in chapter 51? A brain is the place from where the soul emanates out to the rest of the body. So what gives life to each universe is the rules of the Torah that exist in each universe. And that's called the Holy of Holies in each universe.
What's called the Holy of Holies?
The Torah of each world. כמו שכתוב בזוהר ועץ חיים שהשכינה שהיא מלכות האצילוס שהיא בחינת גילוי אין סוף ברוך הוא וחי שמר לאילומס ולכן היא נקראת דבר השם ברוך פיו כביכול על דרך משל כמו שבאדם הדיבר הוא מגלה מחשבתא הסומה ונעלמה להשמים. So like it says in Kabbalah, in Zohar and in Eitz Chaim, that the Shechina is Malchus Datzilos, and that it is the revelation of life force that enters the world. That's why it's called speech. It's also called speech. Revelation is speech, because you use speech to reveal your hidden thoughts to someone else. So the Malchus of Atzilos invests itself in the Chochma Bina Das of Bria. Atzilos is the highest world, Bria is the next world. She Chochma Bina Das de Bria. Ubislavshusan b'malchus de Bria, nivro neshamas v'malachim sheb'Bria. And then when that becomes invested in Malchus of Bria, in turn, it creates the Malachim in Bria. By the way, that's where the Talmud that we know, Talmud comes from there. Yeah, why does the Talmud come from there? Because Bria is an intellectual world. It's a world of reason. Talmud is a discussion of reasons. Why is the law the way it is? Mishnah is, here's the law. Talmud is, why is the law that way? Like it's explained previously in the name of the Tikkunei Zohar. We explained that Bria is a world that's dimmed down, relatively speaking, from Atzilus, where the created beings can receive the hashpah from the Chabad of Bria. That's why Talmud comes from there. Chabad. Talmud hu taimi halachas al buryan. V'taimim heim bechinas Chabad. It's all about reasons, explanations, rationale. Halachas atzman, the laws themselves, meaning the psak din, do this, do that, kosher, pasul. Those are more an expression of Hashem's emotions, kindness, severity, compassion. That's where you get the final rulings of permissible or forbidden, kosher, pasul, fitting, unfitting, tur, liable, exempt. Like it says also in Tikkunim. Ubislabshus malchus datzilus malchus debria mislabeshes behechel kochi kochim di yitzira. And then what happens in turn? After the Torah is invested in the malchus, or the life force is invested in the malchus of Atzilus, the life force of malchus datzilus is invested in malchus debria, and it is mislabeshes behechel kochi kochim di yitzira. Shehu chabad di yitzira. You have the same phenomenon repeats itself over and over again. What happened in Atzilus to Bria happens from Bria to Yetzirah and creates the beings of Yetzirah. He mentions the Ruchais. Ruach is an emotional, there's Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. Ruach is the emotional level. That's why he was also saying that the Torah in Yetzirah is emotional. It's about the din. It's about, is it good or is it not good? That's more of an emotional thing. That's in Yetzirah. In Bria, it's more intellectual. Explain it. Why? What's the thought process behind it? That's where Mishnah comes from Yetzirah, Shia Lochas Psukais, the final ruling. And Mshachas Gamkein Mechabad Shel Erein Sof, which is also an expression of the infinite Chabad. It's just the way that is related in Yetzirah, which is an emotional world. The reasons of the laws are still there, but in Yetzirah, the reasons are hidden within the final rulings. The final rulings are basically an expression of Hashem's emotions, what He likes, what He doesn't like. Lahakol, Mesita de Chesed, Hainu Lahatir, Shiuchal Alis Al Hashem, Oilahachmir Chulu. It's an emotional thing, whether to engage in Chesed and to release something and allow it to be elevated, or to express Gevura and to say, no, this thing can't be elevated. We have like 3 lines here. But all of this stuff that's happening in all these worlds is an expression of the highest Chokhmah in the highest world. It's just getting translated in each world according to the color of that world, so to speak. It's all from Chochmah Ilom, Yuchadis Bein Sof Baruch Hu. It's all one with the infinite. Ki b'seich kulen melubashes Chabad Atzilus. Chabad of Atzilus is present in all of it. Sherin Sof Baruch Hu Miyuchad Bahin B'Tachas Yichud. And in the Chabad of Atzilus is the infinite. So the infinite's present on all of these levels. It's just getting translated in each world in terms that are consistent with the style of each world. Yeah.
I'm a little lost because we break it between the Hebrew and the translation. Are you able to just say it without the Hebrew as a summary? Because the way I'm understanding it, everything that you're saying, the Mishnah, that's all here already. We have all those levels, like you said.
Yeah.
We're already exposed to them.
Right.
So, can you just say that as a full summary, explaining what you just said without the Hebrew, English, Hebrew?
I just did. I said in every world.
I need it next week. What you're saying, each of those things are revealed depending on what world it's in.
Yes.
Everything you just said seems to be in the world as we know. The levels of.
Well, because you're in the last world. That's like you saying, hold on a second. I just used a carrot peeler. Carrot peelers were invented 500 years ago. Did I travel in a time machine? What era do I live in? Do you understand my mashal?
So we're in.
Do you understand my mashal?
Yes. We're in
What? Explain that to everyone else, because that was too weird.
So we take from each world as we go, as we learn. Each one comes with us into our next level. Our next level, we have the past, the present, and it almost sounds like the future. I don't know, because maybe we're not there at the last one yet, but it's all here. We're on some sort of higher level.
Well, we're in the culminating level. So we've got everything from the previous levels. Yeah.
Sorry, I need
Yeah.
a clarification. You said
I don't know if carrot peelers were invented 500 years ago. If you research it, they were either invented surprisingly recently or they were invented in antiquity, but I don't know. Okay.
The Rabbi said, and then everything moves through each world.
Yeah.
To create, and then get to create.
To create that world. Okay.
Rabbi Tal, can I bring an example? Is it the right example or not? It's let's say water. So in one word is a steam, and the other word is a solid, and the other word is a whatever. So it's the same substance.
You want to use that as an analogy, different states of one thing? Yeah, you could use that. Okay. Let's finish it off. We have 2 lines here. And then it comes down. We spoke about how it goes from Atzilus to Bria and from Bria to Yitzira. Now let's do the last one. And then from there it goes down to Asiya. By the way, it's not just 4 general worlds. Every world breaks down into subworlds, unlimited subworlds. It's fine. It's the same structure over and over again. You don't have to memorize a new structure. Umalchus datzilus mlubeshes b'malchus shel kol elam prati. Yeredis mislabeshes behichol kachikochim shu chabad sheba elam shelamat memenu b'medrega. And all that happens is Malchus of Atzilus is invested in the Malchus of every world, and it goes down and is invested in the Holy of Holies of every world, which is the Chabad of every world, of the next world, the subsequent world. Now we understand what it means in Tehillim. It's in Ashrei, actually. Malchusacha, your Malchus, Malchus kol Elamim. Malchuscha, your Malchus, Hashem's Malchus means Malchus of Atzilus, is in a way the Malchus of every world, because Malchus of Atzilus keeps coming back and reiterating on every level through the Malchus of that world. V'hine me'ashchina hamlubeshes behichol kachikochim shel kol elam va'elam klali aproti nimshich mispashit mimeno eir v'chayis l'chol elam v'abruim shabay neshamas v'mlachim v'cholu. Through the Shekhinah, which is invested in the Holy of Holies of each world. Remember, we have these two things. We have the Shekhinah, the indwelling presence, investing itself in the Holy of Holies, which is the Torah or the Moichin or the Chabad or the brains of each world, of the next world. That's how every world gets created, and that's how you get all the beings in each world, and the neshamas and the souls and the angels in each world. Those are created through that, through the Malchus of the previous world, investing itself in the Holy of Holies of the subsequent world. All of them are created by the divine speech, which is also called Shekhinah. Divine speech is also called Shekhinah. That was originally spoken in the 10 utterances of creation of Bereshis, at the beginning of creation. So what we've explained here is a very basic understanding of the structure of reality. That the way that worlds exist is that the life force, the infinite life force, invests itself in Malchus of one world. That Malchus emanates forth, but is then invested in the Torah of the next world. And that becomes the brain, so to speak, or the nerve center of that world. Now you're all looking at me like, what? But here's the thing I want to explain to you. I already told you that we're not going to explain practical application of this. So if we take that off the table, and I just say to you, I know you're thinking, what does this have to do with regular life? I cannot think of how this will ever be useful. I already took that off the table and said, we're not going to do that today. So I'm just going to ask you one simple question. Even though you can't figure out why you need to know this, do you understand the basic concept that we learned? It's just, we described a structure. It's a pattern, a repeating pattern. Okay? So we have a lot of different words. Don't get intimidated by all the different words. The words are synonyms. They're there to help you. The synonyms just give us different ways of saying the same thing. Hopefully one of them will click, or through the combination of all those terms, you get a more well-rounded understanding of each concept. But basically, like I said, there's two concepts here. There's the Malchus and there's the Moichin.
But is the emanation the most filtered on this level, or is it like every level has its own filter?
Every level has its own filter,
it's not
but they're all
stacked on
compounding.
top of
They're
each other.
compounding. So by the time you get down here, it's filter upon filter
Right,
upon
they don't
filter.
remove one and put down another.
Right, they don't remove one to put back,
So
to
we're
put
the
a.
most filtered.
We're the most filtered, sure. Okay? All right, so amazing. We finished chapter 52.